Guten Abend.
Well, 10 to 2. Okay, friends, so let's, can everybody hear me out there? Okay, so we'll begin with reciting Namo Tassa and the three refuges, for those who like to join that. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. So welcome, friends, to this Wednesday evening Dhamma discussion and meditation practice. I'm wondering how many of you were able to listen to any of the Dhamma talks from my retreat at the Bhavana Society last week. Dhamma talks that were broadcast at 2 p.m. from the retreat at the Bhavana Society. Let me see, maybe one hand. Okay. So anyway, this evening's discussion, as I mentioned in my newsletter, is I'm going to be going over a transcript of the last day of the retreat about on the process of dying. Because that retreat, the title of that retreat is Awareness of Living and Dying. And the first few days we focused on the process of living, because if you don't know how to live with awareness, you won't be able to die with awareness. So basically the first few days was, focused on developing mindfulness and centeredness in the breathing body, as I normally do, and then tuning in, opening up to impermanence, and so on. But in the last maybe a couple of days, we focused on the process of dying. So I'm going to share this screen now. And if you didn't hear the talk or you didn't read this transcript that I sent out on the email, I'm going to kind of go over it. But I encourage you to read it. If you're interested in the subject, you read it in more detail. So hopefully this comes up on the screen. Why isn't that coming up on? There it is. Okay. So, where is Judah? I want to get rid of those pictures on the edge because I can't read the whole thing here.
Can you get on that little thing here?
What?
This other one?
This?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so in that talk that I was giving on the last morning, I was asking them, friends, are you prepared to die? So I want to say some more words about that process of preparing for death. Because even though we might be fairly young, death can happen at any time to anybody, at any age, at any place. So that's one thing with death. Death is certain, but the time is uncertain. How we'll die is uncertain. The place that we'll die is uncertain. Because karma is so mysterious and deep that we can't really predict what is going to happen around the corner, what kind of deep karmic, repressed karmic memories and emotions and so on can come up, and especially at the time of death. So we need to be prepared now in case our death happens to be in 5 minutes or tomorrow or next month or 30 years from now. And there's a little simile about the 4 horses. It's about the 4 different types of persons who are negligent in terms of thinking about death or preparing for death. They say, well, I'll eat, drink, and be merry and have a lot of fun because, maybe there's no rebirth, or when death comes, it'll just come. Well, that's true, death will come. But in this simile of the 4 horses, there was a farmer who had a farmhouse up on a hill. And down below the farmhouse, there was a barn where he kept his working horses that plowed the fields. That barn had a big wooden door with rusty hinges. So when he opened the door, it creaked and made a lot of noise. Anyway, so the farmer gets up in the morning and goes out of his farmhouse. Most farmhouses have a screen door. So he goes out and lets the screen door slam and makes a noise that could be heard down in the barn, maybe 50 yards or more below the house. Now, one of those 4 sleeping horses hears that sound and gets up and say, "Oh, my master's coming today to plow the fields. Let me get up and get ready for work." But the other 3 keep sleeping. And the farmer walks down to the barn and opens a creaky barn door, and then the second horse wakes up and says, "Oh, the farmer's here now. Let me get up and get ready for work." The other 2 keep sleeping. And the farmer goes to the center pole that's holding up the barn where chains and goads and so on are kept. And as he gets down the goad, he rattles the chains and makes a noise, and only then the third horse thinks, "Oh, the farmer's here, let me get up and get ready for work." The other one keeps sleeping. And finally, the farmer has to actually stick the goad into the ribs of the horse before the horse wakes up. So these 4 types of persons also exist in the world with similar types of regard for their preparation for death. And it was especially evident during the COVID. So that's a good example. If you can't relate to the 4 horses, then relate to this, what happened during COVID, right? So we know when COVID came first out, it was in a foreign country. It was coming from, around the world. It was a foreign country disease. And people thought, oh, we don't have to worry about that, and so not much was done about it. They had it on the news, of course, but people didn't pay much heed to it. And a few weeks later, we heard that COVID finally got to Seattle. People in Seattle were getting COVID. Still, people said, well, it's just, it's a West Coast thing, those people out in the West Coast, And so people in the Midwest or the East didn't start worrying about it. Although a few people started wearing masks, but it wasn't talked about too much. People did not start preparing. But then it started spreading. Then there were cases in Kansas and Texas, in New York. People started getting a little bit more cautious. CDC started saying, keep an arm's distance, wear masks, avoid big gatherings. But there were still some people that didn't heed that advice. Then that disease comes to a person's town. Maybe a person's family member or friends come down with COVID. Somebody dies. And then that person might then say, oh, maybe I should wear a mask. Maybe I shouldn't go out to parties. And then some person in their family gets COVID, or even they get COVID. And then only finally they, might take it more seriously that they could actually get this disease and die. Now, there's something called unfinished business. This whole life we've been accumulating karma. A lot of people accumulate ill will and grudges against people that hurt them, or unpleasant memories, and they blame others for various problems that they had or even have now. They blame the government and politicians, and this ill will and resentment comes to their mind. And they might harbor a lot of greed and attachment to things. A lot of people have a bucket list, and they're trying to visit all these places on a bucket list before they die. Of course, that may not be too bad, but still, the important parts of this unfinished business are not forgiving people and holding these thoughts that you're not going to forgive them, that they have to forgive first. There's people like that, prominent politicians that we know of. And these other unfinished strong desires, as I've already mentioned. That's the unfinished business. That's probably going to be a determining factor in how you're going to die and what you get attracted to in the future. With the practice of meditation, the practice of Dhamma, we try to wind down and finish up any of this karmic business so that we can die more in the present moment, peacefully. My mind won't be saying, oh, I didn't finish my bucket list yet, or I won't see my grandchildren graduate from college, or for any number of reasons, they die still clinging to these types of thoughts. Even in their last breath, they may be getting angry at somebody who cheated them long ago, thinking, you didn't pay me back my money, or something. But all these things we need to let go of from the mind. And you can't wait to the last minute to do that. Now I want to talk about the 5 stages of dying. You know, when people who've done research on dying find that there are 5 different types of stages people go through. So some people live to a ripe old age, like my mother. She was 101, almost 102. But she didn't want to live anymore, but she didn't have a death wish. But all of her friends were dead, so she couldn't go out and do things anymore. She had lived long enough. So that's a natural end of the lifespan, usually due to previous good karma. Then there are others who are not so old, but they get some diseases. Maybe they're fairly young, in their 40s or 50s, or early 60s. They figure that they should be able to live another 20 years, but for some expected reason, they get some kind of a disease, especially in these kind of cases where people are dying before they're very old. They say, well, I've done everything right. Why is this happening to me? So these 5 stages of dying are said to be denial, especially with somebody who goes, just goes to the doctor for a checkup and, routine blood test, and then a couple of weeks later they get a notice, and doctor calls them up and say, well, we found something in the blood. You better come back and, get some more tests. Or you've got 6 months to live. You've got 1 year to live. It's a shock. And then people try to deny it. Oh, they must have gotten the diagnosis wrong. They must have mixed up the x-rays with somebody else. But I feel great, because some people can feel very good and strong even though they may be decaying inside. So that's the stage of denial. And then a person gets angry at somebody. I must have gotten that when I went to the restaurant, and somebody coughed in my face, or any number of things. Or getting angry just at the world. Why is the world doing this? Angry at God, perhaps. They don't believe in that. They're angry at the law of karma. I've been practicing sila and meditation. Look, why am I getting these diseases? Why is this happening to me? So all these kind of mental states, may arise. And finally, that anger may wear off. And then they start bargaining. Okay, give me 6 more months. I need more time to forgive people and make amends. I'll give to charity. I'll give all my money to the temple or someplace else. I'll meditate every day. So when all these things don't seem to work and the person is getting weaker and weaker, then they get depressed. They go in depression because they can't accept it. And then as they get weaker and weaker, then finally they realize that they have to accept it. There's no bargaining, there's no denial that can work. And so finally, usually they accept it. And that's a good thing, of course. But still, they wait that long to accept it and put off, preparing their mind for that. So the moment of death is actually the most important moment of our life. It's more important than birth. Birth is not important. You're already born. You have no say in that. You're just born. You didn't even know it. You might have been several months or 6 months old before you realize, oh, I'm somebody. I'm a little baby. Or I'm somebody. My name is so-and-so. Otherwise, it was just awareness and things coming and going through expanded awareness. At the moment of death, your senses start shutting down. Even before that, when people are dying in a hospital or a hospice, they're given pain medication so they don't feel too much pain, depending on what kind of problem they have. The first senses to go are probably something like smell and taste. They're starting to shut down. The body is shutting down, it's dying. The hearing and the seeing might be the last ones to go, but usually they start shutting down, and a lot of people go unconscious just a little bit before they actually die. And then because they're no longer hearing anything around them or any type of external stimuli, the unconscious mind rushes up. So when we're no longer paying attention to the outside world, then the whole unconscious mind and kind of rushes up. Our whole life flashes before us. You probably have heard stories of people who had near-death experiences, and they said that, that's what happened. And it's the strongest memories that you have, like killing somebody, murdering somebody, or some other really horrible crime that's going to be really imprinted in your mind. You might see blood or knives or guns, which is a sign of what you may have been doing, or it might have been an animal's cries. As an animal, as you killed it, if you were a hunter and you killed it, or if you slaughtered it, if you've done that sort of thing. Or good things too. Maybe you've been a pious and devoted person. You have visions of your gurus or chanting. A lot of times in Sri Lanka, they play sutta chanting for Buddhists that are dying to get their mind to hopefully focus on some good thoughts, some inspiring things. In the room of a person who's dying, if that person, they're Buddhist or a Christian or whatever religion they have, they put up pictures of people they respected and admired. Or they play music that they're familiar with, devotional music. So hopefully their mind wouldn't go to other sort of dark places or thoughts. So at the moment of death, some sign, what is called the sign of destiny, arises. But if you have meditated and you have awareness, you won't cling to that sign of destiny. But you have to have developed that power of detachment, because otherwise it's just automatic. Like you get an itch and without thinking you just automatically scratch it. The mind will go to these images or memories, and that is what is said to determine where the mind might be attracted as it leaves the body to be reborn. If you've practiced mindfulness for a long period of time and are able to let go of your thoughts and visions while in meditation, if you're able to endure lots of pain and discomfort and have contemplated death too, you'll know that death is natural and it's a grand adventure. Oh, let's see where this goes. I mean, once you've accepted it and there's no turning back, you might as well plan for the grand adventure, to be mindful, not to lose that awareness and go into an unconscious state. But in order to be aware of the moment of death like that, you have to have developed your meditation to quite a high degree. So these are ways that you can try to understand what may be happening. Of course, it's different for people who get in an accident or are murdered. They don't have any time. Even young people, it's a shock. They have no way of preparing. And those are probably unfortunate outcomes because the mind will be in a state of fear or shock, and they wouldn't have not prepared. And one of the good practices to do for preparing for death is practicing forgiveness, because it's not about holding on, it's about not holding on to grudges. The practice of learning how to forgive people, ideally when it happens, instead of going home and festering that in your mind and thinking, well, they started it, they should ask me for forgiveness. Anyway, it's good to challenge that and to gradually learn how to let go of those memories, but especially if those kind of memories are ill will, resentment, and so on against persons from the past, groups of people. And you can actually practice forgiveness as a part of meditation. You bring up a person's face, you identify somebody that you still hold a resentment towards. Try to bring them into your vision and actually look into their eyes, if you could, and then say, I forgive you. Also ask for their forgiveness. If you know that somebody else has a hatred towards you because of what they thought you did, then it's good to ask them to forgive you as well. And whether you're a member or not, we've lived our whole life, 40, 50 or more years, a lot of things, incidences, we may not have even remembered from high school or college or different work situations, these things are still in our mind. So even those things that you remember and things that you don't remember, it's good to do that to hopefully clear out the mind. And you send out metta yourself, and then metta to all other living beings. Now I'm going to add one more thing. There's a practice called 1 year to live. And this was developed by Stephen Levine, who was a popular teacher back in the 70s and 80s, and did a lot of work with dying people. So 1 year to live is a practice that, even if you're fairly young or at whatever time, you imagine that you just got a notice from your doctor saying you've got 1 year to live. You've got a terminal disease. And then what would you think? What would you want? What would become the most important thing to you to do in that last year? Would it be to, climb Mount Everest? Would it be to sail a sailboat around the world? Or would it be to, forgive people you're holding grudges with, or something else? So anyway, you think about that, and then you try to figure out what are the important things that you need to get done in that year before you would die. So it's an interesting thought. But anyway, friends, that's as far as I got with that transcript. Now I want to, maybe stop this discussion now, but ask you to ask any questions that you might like to have about any of those things, about that subject of, preparing for the death or the dying. So you can, if you have any question, you can raise your hand. Okay, Samir, you have a question?
Yeah, Bhante, on the topic of holding grudges, what I've noticed is that, things have happened over the years, and I've developed aversion towards certain people that has lasted, quite a long time. But then there are these times, usually after a period of consistent meditation, when that grudge seems to have disappeared. And I feel like I want to reconnect with them and sort of, clean things up or whatnot. But if I don't do that, then the aversion seems to return. And I just want to see if you had any advice for that.
Well, yeah, in meditation, if you happen to, gain some concentration, then of course that pushes those memories down into the unconscious mind, so they, may not come up. But when you come out of the meditation, or if you, then they're going to, come back up again at the right time. And so, whenever they come up, if they're there, it's a good time. You can even do it in meditation if something that comes up. If it's something that keeps on coming up in a particular, meditation period, you could then actually do a practice there and then to try to let go of that. Because if it's keep coming back in your meditation, then it's probably not going to gain a deeper concentration during that particular meditation period. I don't know, did that answer your question?
I suppose I'm thinking about not just the suppression through concentration, but the eradication altogether. how to get to that stage?
Well, you have to investigate, why are you holding a grudge against this person? And then you have to see if maybe you had some part to play in why that person did or said something to you that you then you got into some situation about some argument or something. And you have to really, that this person, they may not be practicing meditation, they might not be Dhamma. So the average person doesn't know how to deal with these kind of emotions because our society doesn't really encourage that too much. Everywhere we look, people are holding grudges. I mean, look at these politicians, especially certain ones we know. They have grudges against every single person. Their name comes up every speech they give. They're talking about this person and that person. They did these horrible things. So these people are just these memories are never going to go away in them. They'll die with the persons in their mind. So we have to, practice metta, but it's not going to go away just probably in one time. Dragon Yogi, you have a question?
Yes, Bhante, full of gratitude and appreciation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The question had to do with practicing daily with Maranasati,
Mm-hmm.
and the other contemplation with the 5 things that we're supposed to contemplate. Going to get old, we're going to get sick, or we're not going to transcend aging, not going to transcend sickness, not going to transcend death. 2 more, right? And karma.
Yeah, in the
And
order of my karma, yes.
and that's
And everything dear and delightful to me will change and vanish.
Okay, I'll have to let go of this. Now, what are some other like simple type Maranasati things that we can practice? I know, like, I remember one time we talked about if you saw a dead animal and you were driving in a car, you'd think that could be me one day.
Right. Yeah. Or anytime you hear anybody die, whether it's on the news or anywhere else. Somebody was murdered in your town. Somebody was shot by the police. You say, I was lucky today that didn't happen to me. But we know that these things could happen to us, right? Because they happen to innocent people or people all the time. So that's what you think. Yeah, every time, even if you see a roadkill on the side of the road, you could get hit by a truck and your body thrown out of the car, and you could be laying dead on the side of the road in 5 minutes. I mean, but people don't think it's going to happen to them, but it does happen to them hundreds of times every day around the world, thousands of people. So that's one way that the Buddha advised. Yes, anytime you hear something, that happened over there, so on. So it's a way of, again, accepting that when something does happen, you won't be surprised and say, "Why me? Why not you?" When we were born, everything is on the table. All the cards, the karmic cards, are on the table of how or when a possibility that we might die. Now, people, of course, a lot of them don't believe it, so they're not going to think about it.
It's a lot of fear too, man.
Yeah, it's a distasteful topic to them. But anyway, those are the examples that are given.
Okay.
The way to gradually accept that. But it's not just to accept it; it's to try to develop your meditation practice to, more and more to where you reach that point. See, in meditation is the ultimate act of dying. Because when you gain concentration and you're letting go of all the sounds coming and going, the body sensations, you're enduring pain, and even your own thoughts, And then the sense of self starts to dissolve, because I mentioned this many times.
Mhm.
Sense of self is just centered around our, thoughts of the past and the future and pleasure and pain, and the things going through our senses, reacting to them. So when you stop all that kind of reaction in meditation, a deep state of meditation, then it feels like, the sense of self is going to dissolve, your feeling of the body dissolves, and it feels like you're going to die. It could feel like you're going to die. Now, if you can
That's good for
accept
you.
that and open up to it,
Yes.
but a lot of times people, they get jerked back into thinking because a fear comes up. It's the fear of death comes up.
Yes.
So that's why the meditation is also kind of a preparation for death. Now, when people hear this, they think it's some kind of a pessimistic, morbid thing, but no, it's not a death wish, but it's a realistic, just a preparation to accept it when these things happen to us,
Mhm.
and not to try to fight it too much.
We
I have a
fear that
question.
loss of identity as
Yes,
well.
or the fear of just not being able to, see your family or enjoy things like you used to, because people don't know what's going to happen to them after
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
They don't know what's going to happen.
Mhm.
I have a question. You were talking about holding grudges, and for me, it's I have a aversion or repulsion towards body deformity. Like I'm attracted to symmetric, smooth, curvature. Like, but if there's anything like deformity, like someone's half a face is missing, or some weird looking, like they look like they're the deformed, I get a repulsion and I avoid it, or I can't face that. What is that, and how can I face? What is I can do? Is it a perception? Is it a label that I put in that forces me to see it this way? Is it my perception that's projecting that, or is it karma or something else?
It's a little bit of all those things. But it's the fact that, see, we all have the truth within ourselves. The truth, the nature of the existence, the truth is we all have that, is the deepest nature of our mind. But we're in denial. So that person, whatever happened to that deformed person, they might have been born that way. That might be due to past karma. Maybe if they had, or they had an accident, got burned, or in a car wreck and got mangled up. So it's a reflection. We don't want to see that because we know that, well, that could happen to me too. And so we're in the denial. It's like wanting to put all the old people into old folks' homes so you don't have to look at them, because it's a reminder of what can happen to us. So to overcome that, you deliberately go in and make contact with the people. The people, their minds might be very nice. It's unfortunate. Okay, a person gets in an accident and gets half their face ripped off, or they get burned up, and but their mind, they might be very beautiful people inside. But we deny ourselves. We close ourselves off to things that we don't like, and we might miss some very valuable teachings. And so on, like even other ethnic groups, you have an idea that these people are bad, and you don't want to approach them or anything. But if you get to know people, if you just give it a chance and get to know people, you might meet some really good people underneath all of these contrived perceptions. So that's the way that you learn to deal with it. If you're scared of dark, go into a dark room. If you're scared of heights, go up on top of a mountain or in a high place, because these things are just in your mind. And we keep strengthening them by repeating these types of perceptions and thoughts over and over again. But it's just a construct in the mind, and that's what we really have to understand. So you have to challenge. You have to take these things as a challenge to challenge yourself not to have these types of reactions, because they're just mental reactions. They're just in your mind. They're just a mental bubble in your mind. But they grip us so much. So, that's the way that we have to train ourselves. I told that avocado story, that I hated avocados when I was young, and they caused me a lot of suffering when I had to eat them. But I gradually, when I heard the Dhamma, I said, okay, I'm going to force myself to eat avocados. And over a couple of weeks, I forced myself to eat them. But then I actually started to like them. And, now I love avocados. So, that was a good teaching for me. I overcame that aversion. So it's the same way with everything else, basically. We can change the way our attitude. But it takes effort to do that. It's not going to do it by itself, more or less. Okay, looks like there's some chats in the chat box. I have some questions about the topic. Well, the rest of the transcripts of the topic were, about just the nature of the mind, how this mind came to be, and what I've also given in other talks about the child, just after birth, the child gets conditioned by everything they experience, and even the sense of self and the pleasure and pain. These reactions are formulated in childhood, and the society promotes them, and so then we're stuck with them as an adult that we have to then deal with. And then about the Noble Eightfold Path. So those the previous talks in the retreat were about that, but this particular one, because it was more about the actual preparing the mind for death, that I chose it to look at this time. When we meditate and the six senses start to shut down, the unconscious memories come up. Is that similar to what we experience when the six senses shut down during death time? Yes, it could be similar. Of course, at death time is going to be much more pronounced and strong, because when you meditate, the senses don't shut down, your reactions shut down. You're not reacting, let's say, to like itches and pains. You're not reacting to sounds coming, but they're still coming and going around you. But in the meditation, because of the concentration, you're no longer being carried away by them and react to them. But in the death time, it's much more pronounced than that. And of course, the unconscious mind comes up stronger, because it's fighting to stay alive, but it's dying. And so like I mentioned, with those 5 stages of the death, the person goes through those stages, and only in the last stage they finally accept it. And then oftentimes they die with a smile on their face. So, they die in peace. But before that, it wasn't so. So in Vipassana meditation, we try to, that's why we, in Vipassana meditation, we remain aware, called when Vipassana jhana. Our senses don't shut down. Our reactions are muted. And because of that, the consciousness undergoes a paradigm shift. And it seems like things might have disappeared, but actually the mind is no longer, creating perceptions around them. But it all depends on how deep a state you might have gone into. Will our last chitta mental state, immediately get attached to our next life form after our last breath? If so, will our next life be determined by the good karma we have done in our life? Also, the Dhamma meditation we have learned and practiced will come with us to our next life. Well, that all depends, yes and no. The strongest memories, as I mentioned, are the ones that are apt to determine where your mind might be carried away to. Now, if you've been meditating for the last 20, 30 years, and you've developed a daily practice, and it's a habit you get into very easily, then it's a very good chance that that is going to have a determining factor that will cause the mind to be born in a place where it'll be able to get back to meditation at a fairly young age. But if it's something really, really strong, some horrible kind of memory, then there's no guarantee that that won't come up even though you've been meditating and so on, unless you've attained the state of a sotapanna. If you reach the state of a sotapanna, it said the mind will not be reborn in any state less than a human being, so any realms of suffering. So that's why usually it's recommended to try to reach that level, what is called the stage of a sotapanna, entering the stream, where the three fetters have been destroyed. Now, I've given separate talks on those that you can find on the internet. But that's sort of the guarantee. So, but if you haven't reached the stage of a sotapanna, then it's like a crapshoot in terms of where the mind is, what kind of thoughts are going to come up, and what the mind will grab at in that last moment, in that death moment, that dying moment. So the more we can study Dhamma and get Dhamma in our mind, that's really going to be the best way to prepare to counteract all of the other types of thoughts we've acquired in life. Can I say that whatever happened to me in the Dharma world, cause and effect, there must be a true reason, so that I would accept all the situations? Yes, I mean, that's why reflecting on karma, I'm the owner of my karma, heir to my karma, born from my karma, live supported by my karma, and everything I've done, good or bad, I'll become the heir of that. So that's an actual one of those 5 daily reflections that people are supposed to remember each day. So when they go out in the world, everything they're doing consciously, it can have some result. And so that's why it helps you to be more mindful of what you're going to do, what you're going to say, where you're going to go, how is it going to affect you. And that's part of the Dhamma practice. So, okay, this last question. If vibhava tanha arises because of an incurable disease, what would you suggest? Vibhava tanha, this is the desire to die. And usually it would become like people who have contemplating suicide. They have this kind of vibhava tanha, thinking that death will solve all their problems, but it doesn't. And so it's not a good idea to. That's why the suicide is actually one of the worst ways to die, it is said, because your mind is in such a confused state that it's not considered a good way to go. So thinking that death is going to end everything, because death doesn't end everything unless you are an arahant. So it's best to, try to uncover the reasons why you would have this in Vibhava Tanha and deal with it and let the death come, kind of natural without taking it. But anyway, people have to decide that on their own. Okay, friends, I think we'll bring this discussion to an end. And we'll see if I can find another transcript to send out next week. I'll try to do that. Okay? So let's take a few minutes break, come back to do some yoga, and then have our meditation period. Okay, see you back in a few minutes. Is the sound on? Okay, friends, try to stand straight. Relax your arms at the side. Just gently close your eyes. Now focus where your feet press the floor. Feel the weight of the body pressing the feet into the floor. And slowly let the awareness kind of move upwards. Feel your legs. Feel your hands and fingers. Feel the clothing touching the skin. Feel the weight of the arms hanging from the shoulders. Feel any aches or pains in the body. And feel your head balanced on top. Feel your eyes resting in the sockets. Feel your eyelids stretched over the eyeballs. Just mentally feel that outline of a standing body. Just remember the present moment of standing, standing. Now begin some deep, slow breathing, taking 2 to 3 or more seconds to expand your abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest. Hold the air in the lungs for 2 or 3 seconds. And slowly breathe out, or feel the last bit of air go out of the lungs. Take a few more deep, slow breaths like that, developing this mindfulness of breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Hold the breath a second. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. We're now going to combine this breathing with these coordinated body movements, stretches. So on the next in-breath, raise your hands over the head, interlock the fingers, turn the palms up, straighten your arms, stretch upwards, look up at your hands, feel the sensations, and release your fingers. The out-breath, arms back to the sides, feel the last bit of air go out. And again, in-breath, hands over the head, stretch up, bend back a little, feel the arch in the spine. Out breath, arms back to the sides, feel the air go out. And once more, in. Stretch up, bend back a little more, feel the sensation. Out breath, arms back to the sides, relax, close your eyes. Start to feel the increased body sensation. Try to hold the outline of the body in the mind's eye. Or if you can't do that, at least feel your hands or your feet pressing the floor. You feel your face. Just remember standing, 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 letting go of your thoughts. On the next in-breath, lift up on the balls of the feet while raising the hands over the head. Face the hands toward each other a few inches apart and stretch up. In the out-breath, lower the arms, feel the air go out as the arms come down. Again, in-breath, let the breath help lift up the body. Stretch. Out. Feel the air going out as you come down. Once more, in. Stretch. Out breath. Relax. Keep feeling the body. Don't let the mind wander in thought. Feel the increased sensations. Clothing touching the outer skin. Prickly sensations. Aches or pain. Feel the subtle life force vibrations under the skin. Remember standing, standing, letting go of your thoughts. Let the thoughts come and go in the back of the mind. Keep the sensations of the standing body in the front of the awareness. Heart beating, breathing. Now we'll do side bending using one arm at a time. So on the in-breath, raise your left arm up. Try to keep your fingers and arms straight close to your head. And on the out-breath, bend over the right side. Let your arm kind of lay on the side of your head. In-breath, lift up. And 2 more times at the same side, out-breath. Feel the stretch in the side. In-breath. Out. In-breath up. And the out-breath, lower the arm. Next in-breath, raise the other arm. And 3 times to the other side, out-breath. In-breath up. Out. In. Out. On the out breath, lower the arm. Just keep feeling the body, clothing touching the outer skin, subtler sensations under the skin, any aches or pains, prickly sensations. body is comprised of billions and billions of cells, molecules, atoms, vibrating, interacting with each other, keeping this body alive. Letting go of your thoughts. Remember standing, standing. Okay, next we'll do knee bending or squatting. So on the next in-breath, lift up on the balls of the feet to raise the hands up front for balance. And on the out-breath, bend the knees, lower the body down. Balance on the balls of the feet, come down as far as you comfortably can, squatting position, and take a deep breath. Feel the muscles in the legs pushing the body up on the toes. Then out breath. In. Out. In. The out breath, relax. Close the eyes. Feel the increased heartbeat. Breathing. Feel the heartbeat and the breathing calming back down as you rest. Just feeling all those sensations. Just letting your thoughts come and go in the back of the mind. Just keep remembering standing, standing, standing. Keep repeating the word standing, at least you won't think about other thoughts of the past or future, the present moment. Okay, now spread your legs apart about 3 feet. We'll do twisting from right to left, holding the arms out at the sides. Breathe in. On the out breath, twist to the right. Let your feet turn a little bit with the body. Focus your eyes on the hand going back. In breath, come back to the front. Let your feet turn with the body, then twist to the other side with the out breath. In breath, the front. Again to the right, out breath. In breath. Out. And once more to each side. Lower the arms, relax. Close the eyes, feel each foot pressing the floor. Feel the hands and fingers hanging at the side. Feel that pulsation, the hands and fingers. Feel the clothing touching the skin. Feel your head balanced on top, the eyes in the socket. Feel that outline of the standing body, like you were looking into a full-length mirror. Not as a visual image, as a collection of sensations, a collage, of sensations from your head, arms, legs, feet. Standing. Okay, now bring the feet back closer together. We're going to do one last exercise. Actually, we'll do the head turning first. So, on the in-breath, turn your head to the right. Try to look over your right shoulder. You have a stiff neck, just be careful. In the out-breath, turn all the way back to the left. To look over the left shoulder. In-breath back to the right. Out left. Once more to each side. Let the head stop in the middle. Feel the whole body. We're going to do one last exercise, the backward and forward bending. Flex the spine. Turn the palms outward. Touch the little fingers together. Be careful with the back bend, don't bend back too far the first time. So on the in-breath, raise the hands up, level to your eyes. Begin spreading the arms out to the side as you breathe out and bend backwards. Look at the ceiling. And carefully lift up on an in-breath, keeping your arms out at the sides. And on the out-breath, lower the arms and hands down towards the floor. Try to keep your legs straight. Let the little bones in the lower spine stretch out. And begin lifting up. Turn the palms outward again. In breath, raise the hands up. Out breath, arms out to the sides, bend back. In breath, lift up. Out breath, downward stretch. Once more, in, out, in. Third time, try to hold that downward stretch longer. sensations. The little bones in the lower spine stretch out. You begin lifting up. Breathe in, bring the hands together at the chest. Out breath, hands to the sides. Feel the whole body. Feel that dynamic, organic aliveness. The whole body, all the cells of the body have been charged up with oxygenated blood from the deep, slow breathing, and coordinated movements, sending the blood out to every nook and cranny and cell of the body. Feel as though you're standing on a vibrating machine, feeling all those vibrations. Okay, so let's mindfully come back to our seats, get ready for the sitting. Okay, friends, so get comfortable in the sitting posture. Try to sit straight, keeping the back straight, the chin lifted up level with the floor. Just gently close your eyes. Just try to feel that outline of the sitting body in the mind's eye. Sense of the head on top. Straight back. hands and buttocks pressing the seat. Feel your head balanced with the feet tucked underneath. Sort of feel that outline of the sitting body in the mind's eye. And take a few more deep, slow breaths, developing this mindfulness of breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Hold the breath in a second. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Now we're going to try counting our breaths from 1 to 10 to help develop a more continuous concentration on the breathing. I'll do the counting for you. Try to follow that with your breathing and concentration. So the next expanding in breath, mentally count to 1. Hold the breath in a second. And with the contracting out breath, also count to 1. Feel the last bit of air go out. And the next in breath, 2. Out breath, 2. In 3. Out 3. In 4. Out 4. In 5. Out 5. In 6. Out 6. In 7. Out 7. In 8. Out 8. in 9, out 9, in 10, out 10. Now when the breath goes out, don't deliberately breathe in or control the breath. Completely relax. Just let the breath come back in by itself. And now let's do a forgiveness meditation. Now that the mind has calmed down with the breathing, just try to recall some person that you're still holding some ill will or resentment towards for something they might have said or done to you or your friends. Maybe it was some argument that you had. Actually try to bring this person's face up. See if you can put this person's face in front of your closed eyes. You can imagine their face. And just kind of remember what kind of a argument or situation it was that caused you to have these resentments or ill will, or have not forgiven them. Really try to look in their eyes and see maybe the pain on their own face, because they must be hurting as well. And just looking into their eyes, just try to say, I forgive you. I forgive you. Even if it's a little painful, just, I forgive you. I know that it takes two to tango and we all have our own problems. I forgive you, whatever, for that situation. And still looking into that person's eyes, ask them to forgive you for whatever you might have done in that situation, even though maybe you don't think you did anything to deserve it. Still, they might think so. So ask them to forgive you. Please forgive me for anything I said or did to hurt you. And try to feel some relief from having kind of released that painful memory from your mind. Then you might also even be having regret or remorse from having done something that you're not proud of. Even put your own face in front of you. Forgive yourself. Yes, I might have done those things when I was younger, before practicing the Dhamma, but now I'm trying to change. Even forgive yourself for having done those things out of passion or ignorance. Just try to look into your own face and say, I forgive you. Then making a determination not to repeat such unmindful, unskillful speech or actions in the future. And try to feel some relief from that, for having forgiven yourself from harboring negative thoughts to yourself. Think about what you're trying to do now with your life and Dhamma. That's why we're practicing Dhamma, in order to change the way we think and act in ourselves as well as with other beings. Using the precepts of the Dhamma to help guard our actions of body and speech, to help to develop more mindfulness, so that we don't get into those situations. Now we're going to develop thoughts of metta, or friendliness and kindness towards ourselves and those other persons we have forgiven, and then all other beings. So just continue to kind of just feel your own body and mind sitting there. You take a few more deep, slow breaths. You take a deep breath, hold the air in your lungs for several seconds or longer. Try to feel those subtle oxygen molecules going out into the bloodstream, being like a healing energy to flood the whole body and mind with healing life force. And on the out breath, feel the body and mind relaxing into the present moment. Take several more deep, slow breaths like that, cultivating this train of thought. May I be well, peaceful, and wise. May I be free from excessive attachment, greed, anger, ignorance, fear. May I be free from the self-created pains and sufferings of body and mind due to such unskillful thought, speech, and action. And may I have the patience, strength, mindfulness, and wisdom to meet and overcome all difficulties in life. May I be able to continue to deepen my understanding of the Dhamma and the practice of meditation to help free the mind from deeper repressed memories and unskillful habit patterns. May I be well, peaceful, and wise. And in the same way now, that same persons that you might have forgiven at the beginning, send them these metta thoughts to, or any other people that you might have encountered, family members, other people you've come into contact with in your life. Thinking, may all of them be well, happy, and peaceful, free from greed, hatred, fear, and ignorance. May they be free from the self-created pains and sufferings of body and mind due to their unskillful thoughts, speech, and action. May they have the patience, strength, mindfulness, and wisdom to meet and overcome all difficulties in life. And if they haven't already, may they have the opportunity to hear the teachings of the Dhamma and to learn and practice meditation to help free their minds from self-created suffering and confusion. May they be well, peaceful, and wise. And if you can, just try to continue taking some deep, slow breaths. And with each out breath, just imagine these same types of metta thoughts going further and further outward in all directions, out of your house, across the streets, through the fields, through the villages. With each out breath, just imagine these waves of metta thought, of kindness and best wishes to all beings. It's like it was a slow-moving fog with heat radiating off of a wood stove. With each out-breath, these waves of soothing, peaceful metta vibrations going through the bodies and minds of all the beings, going out across the whole state, the whole country, and eventually across the ocean to all the continents, and even beyond in space. Just with the idea, may all living beings, wherever they might be, living near or far away, the rich or the poor, weak or the strong, famous or the obscure, those with power, those without power. May all living beings be well, peaceful, and happy, free from greed, hatred, fear, and ignorance. May all beings be free from the self-created pains and the sufferings of body and mind brought about by their unskillful thought, speech, and action. May all beings in the whole world have the patience, strength, mindfulness, and wisdom to meet and overcome all difficulties in life. If they haven't already, may they have the opportunity to hear the teachings of the Dhamma, and to learn and practice meditation, to help free their minds from confusion and suffering. May all beings be able to live peacefully and harmoniously together, understanding the ultimate karmic interconnectedness and interdependence of all things. May all beings be well, peaceful, and wise. May all beings be well, peaceful, and wise. Just like a mantra reverberating throughout space. Well, peaceful, and wise. Just keep extending that awareness outward and beyond the body. Feel those subtle vibrations of awareness, pure energy, pure love. Try to imagine that any little sense of I or me or self still in the mind, just being like a ice cube floating in water, floating in the ocean of awareness. Just allow that ice cube to melt. To merge into that ocean of awareness. Which is really the state of love. And the sense of self melts away and merges into the one. If you're able to do that at the time of death, and that is a kind of liberation. It's preparing the mind to die, and die before you die. The ego dies before the body dies. And there's nobody that dies. Gone beyond death. Dukkha patacani dukkha bhaya patacani bhaya sukha patacani sukha Hontu sabbe pipanino. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. In this way may all beings live with mindfulness and wisdom. And thus spoke the Buddha. And now I invite you to join in chanting the word sadhu. We do that chanting the sadhu on a long out breath. Try to feel those vibrations in the body and mind. So if you like, you can place the hands together at the chest and take a deep breath. Sadhu. Breathe. Breathe. Now mindfully place your hands at the edge of your knees. Take one more deep breath. As you breathe in, stretch the head back. Pull your hands against the knees to arch your spine back. Look up at the ceiling. Then lift the head up on an in-breath, and on the out-breath, press the chin to the top of the chest. You stretch the neck vertebrae. Lift the chin up level on an in-breath. And relax on the out-breath. Put a smile on your face. Okay, friends. So this brings our evening Dhamma discussion and meditation to a close, and I hope you're able to follow that meditation and hopefully, release any negative thoughts and try to remember that, whenever you get into any difficult situation with anybody, you're starting to hold some negative thoughts about, don't let that fester in your mind. And that very night itself, try to practice that, releasing those, any negative thoughts, towards others so they don't fester and go deeper into your unconscious mind. Okay? So I'll try to do another transcript from that retreat. Maybe I'll just do the 3 previous talks that I had given, if people are interested in that. Okay, so until that time next week, actually we're having our Katina ceremony here at the Lion of Wisdom this Sunday. If anybody is in this area on Sunday, you could come and participate in our Katina ceremony. That means it's a ceremony for the Washington Buddhist Vihara, and they're having that ceremony here at the Lion of Wisdom Center in Gaithersburg. So anyway, until then, be well, be safe, be mindful, be wise, and Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante. Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah.
Sadhu,
You're welcome.
sadhu, sadhu.
Good night.
Thank you, Bhante. Good
Thank you.
night.
Good night.
Thank you, Bhante.
Everyone, have a nice
Everyone, Saranai.
Thank you, Bhante.